Hey, Kevin.
Hey, Mark, how are you?
All
Where,
right. Uh,
where are you?
I'm right upstairs here, about 30,000 feet above. I'll look down at your practice. I'll watch your BP throwing and give you a review later.
All right, perfect.
Um, First of all, just as far as setting your rotation, I mean, it looks like these guys were set up rest wise, but how do you feel about going into it with Tyler, Blake, and I guess potentially Charlie in game three?
Well, really good. I mean, that's kind of the design, and definitely you got to throw yards into there. But to be able to have those three to start it going on normal rest and extra day added in for, I think Charlie and Tyler is
Right.
really, really beneficial for them. We've talked about how it's been a pretty drastic run here playing in Petco. To have the 2 days off is a benefit to all of us.
Gotcha. And then just how much discussion will there be on the roster? Are you likely to go back to 13, 15, and what will be some of the decisions?
Well, we'll have a lot of discussion, just like all the other rosters. It'll go down right to the last hour. I think it's fair that we're going to contemplate if we use 13 pitchers just because of the off days. It just adds an element that we've not had. So you got 2 days off, two games, and then another off day. We should be able to keep fresh, keep our pitching fairly clean and fresh.
Just a quick follow-up. KK said he thought he'd be good to go. I mean, he obviously wasn't at full strength the other night. Do you expect him to be closer to normal by tomorrow?
I do. I mean, we'll probably learn a little bit more here once we get out on the field and take a round of batting practice. But he picked us up big by playing Game 7, and then 2 days off of not swinging and just getting repeated treatment. You got to think that's going to help him be in a pretty good spot where he can be in there for us.
Okay, go ahead, Juan.
Hey, Kevin. A lot of the attention on the bullpen goes to Nick, Pete, and Diego, and deservedly so. But what can you kind of say about Curtis, Thompson, Luke, and just the rest of the guys down there?
Well, when you talk about the bullpen, I think you got to talk about all of them. And they're a big part of the last two series. They're going to be just big this series. We might see a little bit more with some of the left-handers just because they're so strong left-handed. LA is, with Bellinger, with Seager, Muncy, Peterson when he's in there. They're just very talented. They've got a thick team that I think are left-handed pitchers. What we saw out of the Yankees and the Astros are heavy right-handed clubs with a lefty mixed in. They're pretty even throughout. So I think our bullpen, definitely Pete, Nick, Diego, and Tomps, but now we're going to see some lefties come in there and help us try to win games.
And with Brandon, did you see any signs of him, starting to break out of this a little bit in the ALCS?
Yeah, I mean, look, his swings got better. His swings in batting practice got better. He was more on time. You started seeing him drive the ball to the oppo gap, which was encouraging. When you see him bounce at the plate, that's when you think he's going to take off. And just being a little more selective, putting himself in hitters counts, and a lot of good things should happen for him.
Next one from John Romano.
Hey, Kevin. I think the perception around baseball is that the Rays do things a little differently from other teams, odd, funky, unconventional. You've been around a long time. Are those accurate terms to describe the way this organization operates in terms of strategies and philosophies?
No, I don't think that's fair. I think the Rays do things to what we feel is the best way to help us win games. Now, if other people feel that way, they're certainly entitled to their opinion, but they're not the words you described. We don't think that way. We think what we're doing is maximizing our roster and doing everything we can to make the best decisions to put the players in the right spot to succeed and ultimately win as many games as possible. There's not much odd about that.
Ken Davidoff.
Kevin, do you feel like the giant sling thing? I mean, Yankees, Astros, and now Dodgers, that's three of the top four payrolls. Do you think that can be real, has been, and can continue to be real fuel for you guys?
I don't think the payroll does. I think the talent of the rosters that we've gone up against, starting with Toronto, then New York, Houston, and now LA. I mean, we're seeing the best team in the National League. What they did this year, where they've been the last 3 out of 4, speaks volumes about how talented that roster is, the depth of the organization, the decision making, the coaching staff. So I think you take it as we've been fortunate to get through 3 really good clubs. We're going to be challenged here again for the 4th.
Thanks, Kevin.
Yep.
Next one from Jesse Rogers.
Hey, Kevin, where is it different now with the off days? Does it come up in the pitching, obviously, and maybe later in the series where you might use a starter out of the pen? I mean, how much pressure was that to manage 7 days in a row when it came to your pitching?
It was a lot. I mean, the tie ball game, the down 1 games, in the 6th and 7th, knowing there's no off days. I think we had to at times maybe change our thoughts on how to use guys and make sure that we were able to keep guys when we were up 1 as fresh as possible to come in those games. I think there will be a benefit for the pitchers. Definitely the catchers to be able to catch an off day in there. I mean, the last thing we wanted to do is run Mike Zunino into the ground, and we probably did, but he's just so valuable to our what we're trying to do with our pitchers, and his at bats helped us. But I do we feel more comfortable with the off days.
Mark Carrig.
Kevin, Eric was talking yesterday about the culture of the organization, how there's a lot of thought put into trying to create a place where you can try some things that it's okay to miss, that you can learn. What's it like for you to manage in an environment like that? How do you think that's helped you guys kind of reach a success that you have to this point?
Well, personally for me, it's helped me immensely. For somebody that had never managed, 6 years ago, to be able to make some mistakes and learn from them, try some things that people would, quote unquote, use the word different, and it be okay and accepted. It's been hugely beneficial. I mean, we listen to everybody. We've learned from everybody, and everybody's opinions are valued here. And that's how we can come up with what we think is the best decision on a given year, a given season, a given game, whatever it is. So it's a pretty great situation to be a part of, and definitely to the work environment.
Thank you.
Tyler Kepner, go ahead.
Hey, Kevin, you've had so many different relievers get huge outs at the end of games. A lot of 12 different guys with saves or whatever it is. What is your thought on the ability of relievers to handle the ninth inning or the big moment? Because it seems like you just expect them to get big outs anywhere, and the ninth inning or whatever, it doesn't even matter.
Yeah, no, I think it matters. There's no doubt in my mind that the last 3 outs of a game are very challenging. You talk to a starting pitcher, the 5th inning, it seems to be a challenging point. Stats has probably helped our minds get there, but I don't think we can deny the fact that getting the last 3 outs of a game, it takes a special mindset to do that. I think we're fortunate that we have a lot of players that have had some reps at it, had success doing it, and when they didn't have success, they were able to kind of learn from what they would have liked to have done differently the next opportunity they got. Saying that, I don't think all games are won and lost in the 9th inning. I think there's games won and lost in the 6th, 7th, and 8th, and we're going to try to make the best decisions to win that inning just like we would the 9th.
How much does it help you to have that mentality to not be locked in and say, well, it's not the 8th or 9th inning, we can't use Anderson, and also just how do you know that you have Anderson, Castillo, Fairbanks, so many guys that can handle the last 3 outs?
Well, the reason we have that thought is a credit to the players. And certainly Kyle Snyder and Stan Borowski, our bullpen coach, and the messages that they deliver day in and day out through the regular season, through the postseason, to get them to understand and really buy into whatever role is asked to help the team on a given night. To have the ability to have 3, 4, 5, whatever guys that have closed out tight ball games, I think you got to think that helps you in these scenarios and situations. Nick might close out a game tomorrow, and then he might be pitching in the 6th inning the next day, and they're okay with that. I think they enjoy that.
Go to Justin Granite.
Kevin, the other night after you guys clinched, without anyone asking, you made sure to thank the fans back home in Tampa. Since then, a lot of people nationally take shots at the attendance in the fan base of the Rays, but here we know that people truly care about this team. So can you debunk that and talk about the passion of this town for this team?
Oh, there's no doubt. There's a ton of passion, and not overly concerned with people that are not familiar with the Bay Area. We recognize we have a special group of fans, and just from talking to people back home, the Bay Area right now seems pretty excited in a time where there hasn't been a ton of things to be excited about. Maybe certainly the Lightning. I know the Bucks are playing well, but we're doing our thing here, and we just could not be more appreciative of the support of our community and our fans.
And Mayor Kreisman today announced that they're going to have a watch party at the St. Pete Pier. I'm sure that's a pretty cool thing for you guys to know that there's going to be support out there.
That's very cool. Just cheer loud and wear a mask.
Next, Scott Smith.
Kevin, every player and manager dreams of winning a World Series, obviously, but not many get the opportunity to bring the first to their hometown. What does the prospect of that mean to you?
You know what? I've briefly thought about that, but I'm trying to avoid it because you want to bring it back to the club that you work for. If you add another layer to it, it was similar to getting the job 6 years ago, but this is now more magnified than being a guy that was born and raised in the Bay Area. I think any city would appreciate it. Any team in this position would appreciate it. It just might make it a little bit more sweeter if we're able to do some special things here in Texas.
Jesse Rogers, you had one more quick one.
Yeah, real quick, Ash. A couple of your players have mentioned how you let them be themselves, their personality, especially guys like Glasnow Meadows who came from somewhere else. That might be a cliche, I know, but where did you sort of develop that sort of let guys be themselves? That's something that is brought in yourself, or you learned it from somewhere?
Well, I was really fortunate to be around a lot of really good coaches, managers, just baseball people, teammates, and you watched how people went about it different ways. And not every way works for individuals, and not every player responds to one way. I think Terry Francona was probably the biggest influence in the way that he came into the ballpark and watching the way he treated players 1 through 25 on the roster.
All right. Thank you, everyone, for your questions. Thanks, Kevin.
Thanks.